how this idea came in the first place of such a strong shock absorbing power?
The origins of this idea go back to 1967, as IWC has already introduced a kind of shock protection system, which used a rubber bumper as, to absorb the impact that was used in a yacht club at that time. So the idea was not really new. It was born out of the history of IWC. We then analyzed these old systems, and we saw that the effect was not that high, and there were some unsolved problems like the X of the crown, etc., and so on. And with these things in mind, we opened the field of innovation very wide and investigated all kinds of industries that use shock absorbers today. So I mean, you can find all kinds of damper systems, like with fluids, with elastomers, all kinds of spring systems. Yeah, but at the end, the cantilever spring we use in this shock absorbers watch was the best solution with the maximum effect. It was was really the most we could get out of the volume we had in the watch, a watch which is still wearable with 44 millimeters of diameter.
Tell me more about this spring called bulk metallic glass.
Yeah, the spring is made out of bulk metallic glass, so short BMG. This is a very advanced material of highest strength and elasticity. The key for this material is really you cool down the liquid metal in a very short time, so that it has no chance to build its normal crystalline structure. And with this, you get really this highest strength and the really high elasticity.
Good. Tell me more about the because in the movie it looks like you have a lot of elasticity. How big could be, I don't know, in any direction, the movement?
The movement of the spring. So the maybe first a word about the crown.
Yep.
The crown is really also special in invention. It's completely in the standard position. It's completely free from the movement. There is no connection. The connection is done only when you pull the crown. There's a kind of a bayonet mechanism behind it. So the movement can move in the event of a impact almost 1 millimeter in all direction, even in the direction of the crown itself. And with this, of course, with this movement completely independent from the case, you reduce the impact forces by up to 80%, yeah, and up to theoretically 30,000 G in the horizontal area.
Tell me, was a particular reason to pick the 30,000 G? Because it looks like to this kind of force acceleration, you will not survive as a human being anyway. So why not 20,000 or why not 50,000 G? So what was the particular reason to choose such a G number?
It was not really chosen. It was the maximum we could achieve. So this is really an experimental watch. So we, as I said, we tried to get the most out of the volume. So I mean, the volume or the diameter of the movement was given. We still wanted to have a watch which is variable with 44 millimeters, is still variable, so there was a given space, and into this given space we developed this shock absorbing system, this whole spring system, and 30,000 was in the end the maximum we could achieve within this given volume with this cantilever spring. So of course we could have chosen 10, 20,000 G. It would be still double or 4 times the norm for a shock-proof watch. But here the reason was really to see where the physical limits are. It's kind of, I would compare it with Formula One, for example. This is Formula One for watches. So and you can't go with a Formula One really on the street, I would say. But you can have a lot of good things out of the inventions you do for these extreme environments.
I am thinking to something which is more practical. Of course, is a record, no discussion, and I'm pretty sure this is the biggest world record in the history of watchmaking. But in reality, because I'm sure you have studies, what is the maximum G in practical form? What can happen for a watch to be in such a shock stress?
I mean, if you drop a watch, I mean, you reach 5,000 G very, very easily. On the wrist, I think there is only a few hundred G is really possible. I mean, if you hit something, maybe you go up to 1,000 or above 1,000. It's also, you know, how to say, a kind of security you give into this the whole watch.
By the way, you mentioned this 1 millimeter in any direction, but I guess you do not mean also on the vertical direction.
No, in the direction of the glass, of course, no. It's not possible. This is really just the horizontal area where this spring is working. But this is the most important area, as it's exactly 90 degrees to all the axes, to the balance wheel, etc. We can, yeah, I mean, you can see when you get a hit from the side, here you have really the movement in all kinds of directions. I mean, anyway, we still have a sapphire glass on top of it. I mean, if you drop the watch or something like that, I mean, it still can break. That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
I was thinking to the pilots. I remember the movies of IWC with the Top Gun pilots, which explained us all the time that they hit because of the big shocks in the cockpit, because of the fighter plane is doing, and I learned that they can hit always the glass with big force. What is the solution for this kind of uncontrolled movements?
We have additionally a kind of rubber bumper around this watch. Unfortunately, this prototype is without this rubber bumper. This gives a bit of more security also in direction of the glass.
Great. And let's go now to this XPL. It's coming from what?
XPL stands for Experimental Pilot's Watch. It's very simple. And yeah.
And I learned from Watch and Wonders that it is a kind of new division, or is not a new division in the company?
It's not so new. It's already in place since a few years. It's a team of different experts, an interdisciplinary team that takes care about all kinds of product innovation, but with a very strong focus on materials. I mean, you find here bulk metallic glass, ceratanium, etc. These are inventions out of this team. I mean, these kind of inventions, these kind of products, of course, take long years, 3, 4, 5 years sometimes. And this team is already in place since a few years.
Should we expect this technology, let's call it like that, on a different watches, a part of Pilot?
As I say, to be honest, I cannot speak about product strategy, etc. But as I said, I mean, it makes sense if you have a product like this, which is really at the top level, what is possible to decline it to maybe smaller diameters, whatever, as you said, I mean, 10,000 G are still double of the shock resistant norms. So yeah, why not? We have to wait and see.
I will ask you in a different way the question, because it's an experimental division. Could we expect other kind of technologies coming from this XPL division?
Yes, of course.
Of course, I mean out of the box, not traditional watchmaking.
Yeah, that's the aim of this team. Really to think a bit out of the box, to look also in other areas, in other industries. Yeah, collect all kind of ideas, looking what are real the problems, what in watchmaking, and bring innovative solutions. Of course, yeah, that's the aim, and especially for materials. I mean, this is very strong pillar of our innovation strategy. They look, of course, in all kinds of possible materials, and then so we come up with BMG, for example, or ceratanium. You know, all the kinds of ceramics we have brought over the past, I would say, 10, 20 years.
By the way, talking about new materials, it looks like ceratanium, it's still the number one in IWC, correct?
Ceratanium at the moment, yes, is really number one, and we're still exploring and yeah, try out what we can do with this material, but we don't forget the other materials. So, for example, we're still doing ceramics in all kind of things. We also look into this area, and we have, of course, the long history of titanium. I mean, at the end of the day, ceratanium is a not really a mix, but has advantages from titanium. It is a titanium alloy. But also the advantages of ceramics with this, how to say, with this surface out of ceramic.
I'm wondering, and that's up to you to answer, but I wonder what is the next big thing in terms of materials for the watch industry? What is your dream to achieve? I mean, I'm not referring to tell me any secrets. I'm just asking you as a specialist in this field, what could be the next big thing for the watch industry in terms of materials?
Yeah, I mean, we're always dreaming of extremely light materials, which are also in the same way very, very hard, scratch resistant, but also yeah, shock resistant, a kind of that is not breaking. So I don't see, you know, really a complete new material, but I think there is a lot of room still to improve, to explore in new ceramics, for example, new titanium alloys, other alloys, even in steel. I think we still have room for improvement and for innovation.
By the way, there is a kind of discussion, what is better for a watch, the carbon fiber composite or the ceramics, whatever kind of ceramic or whatever. What do you think?
It both has its advantages and disadvantages. I personally think ceramic is the better choice, but this is my personal opinion, of course.
No, but I think also that today, I mean, 10 years ago was obvious the carbon fiber. Remember what was possible 10 years ago. Today, I agree, things complicated and the technology is advanced. So yes, I think there is a valid question, which might be the best. the ceramics or the carbon fiber. But by the way, talking about carbon fiber, I have another question in my mind since many years to ask you.
Okay.
Of course, you know Kevlar.
Yes.
I wonder why not Kevlar was used in the watch industry. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. We had a look into Kevlar years ago. I think I've seen some straps maybe out of Kevlar or Kevlar fiber years ago. I don't know. I think it's really hard to handle this Kevlar material, and it's not. I think there's. It's not that easy. In it's more complicated than the carbon fiber. I think that's the main thing behind.
You know, I agree with you that it should be a technical reason behind.
Yeah.
And thank you for letting me know your insight, because to me it's new, obviously. To me also, as an engineer, I was always surprised in the last 10, 15 years. And you will probably remember that talking about Kevlar and carbon fiber was the juice, was the sweet when we've been students. So it's nothing new.
No. I mean,
to me it's a bit of problem. In the last 30 years, we do not have another revolutionary material in terms of composite materials like Kevlar, like carbon fiber or something like that. Nothing, which is strange.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe it's not, or at least in the past, it's not the watch industry who's really driving these kind of technologies and new materials. But I think we have to be open and to see what is ongoing in other industries. And I think there is still a lot of how to say basic research in materials. I mean, we're also in contact with a lot of institutes, universities, etc. There are things ongoing, but as long as you don't have really a good business case, it's difficult to introduce these kind of things. I mean, it's the same for us.
By the way, talking about the big pilot and carbon fiber, the latest limited edition with Mercedes AMG is about a pilot with carbon fiber dial.
Yeah.
It looks like this year is a lot of big pilot. What is the reason that all the news are related to big pilot, even the XPL?
I mean, it's one of the most iconic products IWC has. I mean, it's so recognizable. It's so well known. I mean, of course, we have others as well, but the big pilot is really a driver, and yeah. Therefore, I think it's a very good playground for us engineers, for the researchers to use it. It has a certain size, also good, so we can bring a lot of things inside.
I have one more question. You see, this year we saw during the Watch and Wonders many trends. What is your let's say ranking of the trends in the watch industry? Let me 2, 3, 4, whatever number you prefer to tell me, according to you, the trends in the watch industry after pandemic times.
I mean, I think that's the key word. After a crisis.
Yeah.
I've seen a few crises since I'm in the watch industries, and it's always more or less the same. During a crisis or after the crisis, people look for iconic watches with broad history, real value for money. I think that's at the moment, and this happens again. I mean, fortunately, IWC has a few of iconic products, but We can see it, and for example, the Portuguese chronograph, the pilot's chronograph, for example, even the big pilot, etc. People are buying into these products, and going the safe choice, I would say.
And let's finish the interview with Hollywood, because we started with Hollywood. When you will show us Tom Cruise Top Gun watch?
Ooh, I think I get some signs from
indications.
outside. I'm sorry, I cannot answer this. You have to wait, I think.
But no, it's crazy. Because of this pandemic times, the movie premiere was postponed and again, and that must be very frustrating for the IWC to not being able to show the watch.
We have other channels, huh? We have our own film studio. We can show our watches whenever we want.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefan. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Welcome. It was very pleasure to hear and to see you.
The same for me. Bye bye.
Bye bye.